Now imagine this, you getting ready to go out, right? You getting dressed, you found something that fits your body well, something that you feel good in, something that when you look in that mirror, you be like, yes, I did that. You put that shit on. But then right before you leave the house, you think to yourself, will men find this attractive? Will men be checking for me tonight? Will men approve of this outfit? That moment of hesitation is your male validation creeping in and rearing its ugly head. So, welcome back to Decentering Men 101 with Coach Key. We are in week 3 of Decentering Men, and this episode is all about diving deeper into male validation and how you can stop seeking male validations. That way, you can create healthier relationships with other women around you. So, first up, we're going to start with how does male validation shape our choices? So, we've been talking about how male validation shapes our identity and shapes how we show up in the world. So, let's explore how it shapes our choices. Let's start with social media. So, a lot of women tend to post things on social media based on how much male attention it's going to get. So, for example, a woman may be more inclined to post a selfie, a bikini pic, a lingerie pic over a book recommendation or something that's less appealing. So we see this all the time on social media. You'll see women post maybe informative content. Maybe a woman posts her political views. Maybe she shares how you can go support movements in the community. And that post may get like 3 likes. The very next day, she may post a picture of her in Greece on a beach somewhere in a 2-piece bikini. And that picture gets shares, likes, hella comments. You look good, girl. Where you at? You know, people are more engaged in this content. That's an example of how male validation shapes our choices when it comes to social media. Some women are only willing to post things on social media that they know is going to attract male attention. We talked about in a previous video how that inflates some women's egos. Some women are chasing that ego boost through social media. So the next time you're posting on social media, I want you to think about, what are you trying to gain from this post? Is it just a fun post? You just want to share this with everyone that you follow? Or are you specifically looking for male validation when you post that picture? When you post that bikini pic, are you specifically saying, I want to see how many men comment. I want to see how many men like this post. I talked about it last week. If you're not getting paid, let it go. Another way it shapes our choices is what we'll call the cool girl syndrome. So a perfect example of the cool girl syndrome is the movie Gone Girl. So a lot of women are going to downplay their wants, their needs, their personality. They're going to downplay who they are around men because they believe that's what's going to get more attention from men, is being the cool girl. So these are the women, they're going to say things like, I don't need flowers. You don't have to give me flowers. Knowing the whole time deep down in their spirit, they want flowers. They've just never received it. So they don't feel deserving, or they don't feel like they should be asking for flowers. These are going to be the women, you don't have to spend that much money on a date. You could just take me to the park. These are going to be the women who are saying things that, these are going to also be the women who will say that they're interested in things that they're not really interested in. These are going to be the women that are like, I love basketball. I love watching, the Celtics playing. The whole time they've never watched a basketball game in their life. So cool girl syndrome is going to shape your choices, because if you're trying to be the cool girl in a group, you're trying to be the one that out of every girl in the room, you're the one that's most chosen, you're going to be faking a lot. You're going to be saying things that you don't believe. You're going to be doing things that are out of your character because you're trying to appear as the cool one, as the chill one. You don't need much from men. You're fine with just a good morning text. Like, these are the things that you have to start paying attention to when you're in rooms with other women, first off, because a lot of times the cool girl syndrome shows up in rooms with other women. It shows up in rooms where there is group discussions and group conversations. A woman that's experiencing cool girl syndrome may also laugh off sexist jokes. So a man may say something offensive. They may say something misogynistic. And instead of a woman correcting him or providing him with education about why what he said is wrong and why that's not acceptable, she's just going to laugh it off, or she's going to agree with him because she's internalizing those beliefs in order for her to seem as the cool one. Next up, we're going to explore, how does male validation pit women against each other? So first up, we're going to talk about the Beyonce versus Rihanna effect. Now, when I tell y'all there was so much drama in the media that was created by the media about Beyonce and Rihanna hating each other, and they've never done a song together, so they must hate each other. Rihanna became Jay-Z's mistress at some point. Like there were so many rumors in the media about Beyonce and Rihanna for no reason. People were pitting them against each other because they are two successful women who have really big careers, who have really big fan bases. And a lot of times it's the fan bases that are externalizing male views and externalizing male validation themselves. There are a lot of times on social media where people are saying that Beyonce should dress this way or Rihanna should dress this way or their mothers, they should be covered up. Where do those views come from? Where does this idea that because both of these women are successful and both of these women are talented and both of these women have their own families or in building their own brands, it makes it to where they have to compete now. When you are searching for male validation, you're going to put women against each other. A really good example of this too, when two women are at work and they're up for the same promotion, two healthy women who are not male centered, who don't need male validation, they're going to see it as may the best person win. Whoever has the best skill set, whoever shows up the best, may the best person win. Two women who are seeking male validation, they're going to be treating this like a competition of who they are as a person. It's going to become, I'm the better person. You're going to have this idea that only one of you all can succeed. Yes, only one of you all can get the promotion, but that doesn't mean that the other is not going to succeed. It doesn't mean that winning season stops right then and there for that person. You don't have to pitch yourself against another woman in order for you to see yourself as a success. When you get success, you want to gain success because you truly deserved it, because you truly earned it, because you truly put in the work. You don't want to get success because you knocked another woman down on your way up. So just like with the Beyonce versus Rihanna effect, society likes to pit women against each other. There are going to be experiences in your life where you'll notice that people will compare you to another woman just to see how you'll respond, just to see if they can spark that envy in you, just to see if they can spark that angst in you. Do not fall for that trap. Accept that you are your own person. You're going to have your own success. You're going to have your own wins. And that's separate from what everyone else has going on. They're doing the work that they need to do. And as long as you're doing the work that you need to do, you don't have to compare yourself to someone else. And you don't have to fight with other women to get to where you want to be. Another really good example is a wedding versus a career. When a woman announces a wedding and engagement, people love that. People are all in the comments. Oh my gosh, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I want to invite, everybody want to be invited to the wedding. But a lot of times when women are announcing career advancement, business advances, that doesn't get as much attention. And it's because a lot of people, men and women, are only focused on women's acceleration when it comes to family, when it comes to relationships. If a woman is reaching career goals, a lot of people just aren't impressed by that. A lot of other women aren't impressed by that either because that's not a focus in their life. Their focus is marriage. Their focus is a husband. Their focus is a family. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you are choosing those, when you're making those decisions because of male validation, then there is something wrong with that. Your desire for a family, your desire for a wedding, your desire for a husband, and those things should be solely based on who you are as a person because those are the things that you feel like is going to enhance your life. It should never be because you are seeking male validation, seeking male approval. A lot of times women don't even feel successful unless they're married. They don't feel like they could be CEOs of a Fortune 500 company, but they don't feel successful if they don't have that partner, if they don't have that relationship. You have to start assessing why wedding announcements get more attention than career announcements from women. So today's class is all about building connections that don't rely on male approval. So I already gave y'all the homework assignment. You're supposed to have a conversation with another woman, and the conversation could not include anything about men. We are continuing that. So first, a really good way to build connections that don't rely on male approval is to have a no men challenge. So when I think of a no men challenge, I'm not gonna lie, I think about wait and exhale because I think about how they all got to a place in the movie where they realized that relying on a man's approval, relying on your husband's approval, relying on your baby daddy's approval, relying on somebody else's husband's approval, they realized that relying on their approval was what was causing the stress in their life. It was what was causing the problems in their life. And they made that no man vow. They made that focus like, you know what, I'm going to focus on my girls. We're going to raise this baby. We are going to focus on ourselves. And we're not about to keep giving these men that don't deserve our time and deserve our time and attention. People call me strict all the time. And I'm strict because I have the discipline to go without men. I have the discipline to not need to call a man to fill my time. I have the discipline to not spend time with men who don't respect me and who don't value me. So when you are building that discipline, you have to go without men. You have to challenge yourself to be without men. Now, at first, this is going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. It's still a struggle sometimes for me, rarely, but it's still a struggle sometimes for me because at the end of the day, we still need each other. Men still need women and women still need men. We just all need to show up as a healthier versions of ourselves. We all need to be doing the work to be a healthy contributor to our relationships. But when you push through that struggle and you push through that resistance and you start shifting your beliefs, what's going to end up happening is that within your female relationships, you're going to find out new things about this woman that you never knew. You're going to find out passions that this woman has that you never knew. You're going to find out gifts that this woman has that you never knew. You're going to find these things out about yourself. When you stop relying so much on male attention, on male energy, on masculine energy to fulfill you, you start learning more things about who you are and what your feminine energy can do and what your feminine energy can bring into your life. Because a lot of y'all are relying on masculine energy to increase your income. You're hoping that you'll meet a rich husband, become the rich husband. You're hoping that you'll meet a generous man, become the generous man. Like, show up in your life in the ways that you want a man to show up in yours. So that way the energy is just reciprocation. They're only coming in to add to what you already have. When you are relying on male approval, you're looking for them to fill holes that you don't already have. It's not going to work out for you in the end. You have to be able to push through and go without men. Challenge yourself for a week. Challenge yourself for 2 days. Challenge yourself for a month. Challenge yourself to push past what you've done before. If you know that you can block that man and not talk to him for 3 weeks, but in that third week, you on his ass again, push yourself to go a fourth week. Because as someone who's been in toxic relationships and as someone who's been in unhealthy relationships, that's what it took for me to get out of those relationships, was for me to keep pushing myself to go further. Yes, I didn't talk to you for a month, but now we're talking again. But now next time I ain't talked to you for 4 months and now we're not talking again. It's like, okay, now we're not talking forever. You have to push yourself, because every time you let yourself get back into that comfortable cycle with a man, you're only furthering and deepening your own hurt. You're only pushing yourself further away from where you actually supposed to be going and what you actually supposed to be doing in your life to better your life, to better your bloodline. Another thing that you're going to learn when you do the No Man Challenge is that you're going to realize how much of your friendships do center around male approval. You're going to realize how many conversations come up that are about men. When you decide that you're not going to build your friendships with women based on men, a lot of people are trauma bonding. A lot of women are making friends with other women based on their past hurts from men, based on their past trauma from men, based on their past negative experiences from men. So you're trauma bonding with these women, sharing these negative experiences with these women, and that is where y'all connection sits, is in y'all's negative experience with men. You want your connections to other women to be about passion, to be about gifts, to be about spirit-led connections, to be about interest, hobbies, things that you all enjoy, things that bring positive and good things in your life. Because if you're only connecting with someone through grief and you're only connecting with someone through trauma, that's not a solid foundation to build further healthy connections. What that's going to look like in your life is that you're going to keep dating trash men, and you're going to go tell her every time you do, and she's going to go tell you every time you do, and y'all are going to keep doing these cycles because no one is challenging each other to do more, to be more strict, to show up differently so they can receive different things. I saw a woman say on social media the other day she's never had flowers on a date and she's never had like a fancy date. And when I challenged her to start being more strict and to say no more often when men are asking her on dates, she pushed back and decided that, well, she's actually had great dates, they just weren't fancy. And it's like, well, you were just complaining about it. But when I challenged her for her to do something different, because she was complaining about the men, and I'm like, well, you're accepting the dates. You have to stop saying yes, because I say no to most dates that are offered to me, because it has to be presented right. It has to make sense. It has to be alignment. And if that's not happening, I'm going to say no. A lot of women aren't able to say no. They're not comfortable saying no to men. They're not comfortable being by themselves. So they say yes in situations that they should say no to, simply because they only know to settle. Next up, you have to be a true girl's girl. A true girl's girl. When you are building connections that don't rely on male approval, you have to be a true girl's girl. And when we're talking about a girl's girl, we're not just talking about being able to be nice to a woman, being able to compliment a woman, not sleeping with a woman's man. We're talking about going deeper than that and being able to challenge a woman when you see that she's not showing up as her best self. Being able to be present for another woman when she's struggling with something. Being able to advocate and support other women without expecting some weird alliance or some weird, in exchange, like purely just showing up for another woman because you're a woman and you understand. A really good example of this is that there are a lot of women in positions, in hiring positions. There are a lot of women in HR and in hiring positions. So if you're a woman that's in a hiring position, when you see women applying for roles, advocate for them. Look at their resume past comparing them to a man. Look at their resume and focus on their qualifications. Because if you're a woman who is truly a girl's girl, who really shows up for women and who really advocates for women, you are going to make sure that you're hiring qualified women. You're going to make sure that you are bringing women into these positions because they deserve to be here and they deserve to take up this space and they deserve to be paid well for, the work that they do. That's another reason why women being in such powerful and high positions, being collaborators with other women is so helpful. Because if you're a woman that does rely on male approval and you're only hiring certain women because it will fit the expectation of the men in the office, what's going to end up happening is that you're building and supporting a culture that does not support women. You're building and supporting a culture that only cares about women to their extent of attractiveness or to their extent of how well and how good they can treat men. All right, y'all already know it is time for homework. It is time for your homework. So this week's homework, I want you to build upon what we've done before. So previously I asked you to write an autobiography about your life that does not involve men. This time around, I want you to write more about the kind of connections that you want to have with the women in your life. So what does healthy connections with other women look and feel? So what does healthy connections with other women look and feel like? So what does that look and feel like for you? One of our intentions, remember we set 3 intentions. One of our intentions was for you to create healthy connections with other women throughout this process. I want you to define what that looks and feels like so that way when you are creating it, you know. I want you to write about what that looks and feels like so that way when you are creating it, it's easy for you to say this is it and this is not it. It's also going to be easier for you to change and shift what that looks and feels like. Because presently, if you don't have a lot of healthy connections with other women, you don't really know what that looks and feel like. You can only talk about what that looks and feel like based on what you see on TV or what you've heard other people talk about. So once you start getting there and once you start creating more healthy connections, what that looks and feels like is going to shift for you because now you're experiencing it. Now you're feeling it. Now you're living it. So I want you to talk about what that looks and feels like right now. And while you're doing these things, while you're creating these connections, I want you to see how it aligns, how it doesn't align, and where you can change. Now, your conscious conversation exercise. All right, so now you have your conscious conversation exercise. You already got your journaling prompt. Here's your exercise. I want you to attend led event where men, not the focus, talk to women you run into. So your conscious conversation exercise. I want you to attend a female-led event where men are not the focus. So we're not going to one of those events that can help you keep a man. We're not going to one of those events that'll teach you how to communicate better with men. We're not going to one of those events that are Kama Sutra, better sex for men. We're not going to any of those events. You're going to a female-led event where the focus is not about men. A book club. But let's let the book not be about men. So a book club, a running club, a game night, go to a poetry night, go to an open mic night. Find a female-led event where men are not the focus. Get on Eventbrite, get on Google, get on your Zoom, and find an event. There's an event going on somewhere. There is something going on somewhere. Find a women's empowerment event that's not focused on men. Find a spiritual event. Find a hobby that you've been interested in. Find an event where they're doing that hobby at the same time. Maybe you want to do pottery, go to a pottery class. Find an event that is led by a female, a painting class, do a paint and sit by yourself. Find an event. And I want you to talk to the women that you run into. Talk to the women that you run into. Just have conversation, just casual conversation. It doesn't have to be anything deep, anything big. Just don't talk about a man. Just don't talk about men. So that's going to be your conscious conversation exercise for the week. Attend a female-led event where men are not the focus, and talk to the women at the event. Break the ice. Ask them about the event. What brought you here? Or if this is an artistic event, what kind of art are you into? Think about the point of why everybody's there and have conversations about that. Break the ice with these conversations. All right, I want to thank everybody who joined me again for another class of Decentering Men 101 with Coach Key. I'm very grateful for everyone that is participating with me, and I'm very appreciative of all the support, all the shares, the comments, the engagement. Y'all are really showing out. So I will be live this Sunday. I canceled last Sunday's live, but I will be live this Sunday at 8 p.m. to discuss our conscious conversation exercise and the journaling homework as well. So join me live at 8 p.m. Lives are very short, y'all. I'm on there max 8 to 8:30. So join me, tune in, share this video with anyone that you know needs to hear this content. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all again next week for class 4.